Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name is Amanda, and today I want to share with you the Anne of Green Gables book tag. So this is a book tag that was created by Meghan the Story Girl. Yeah, Meghan the Story Girl. I wanted to make sure that I got her name right. And it is all about Anne of Green Gables. And so she tagged me in this video, and I wanted to make sure that I got this out right away. So let's just get into these questions. These are all about Anne of Green Gables, and when you do this, you can either do the whole series as a whole, or you can do the first book. I think I'm going to try to keep my answers more to the first book, and there will probably be spoilers in this about what happens in the first book, just because of the nature of the tag. But this, take into account that I've only read Anne of Green Gables once. Tia from Tia and All the Books and I are actually doing an Anne of Green Gables read along this year, and we're reading through the entire series. But I read Anne of Green Gables for the first time ever in January, and that was the only time I've ever read it. Since then, I've watched the Meghan Fellows, I think is her name, movie adaptation, miniseries, whatever you want to call it, adaptation. I've also watched Anne with an E, which is very, very, very different than the books. And so it kind of muddled my memory of what actually took place in the books. So I'm trying my hardest here, guys. And I'm going to feel really, really bad if I mess this up. So let's just get into these questions, and this hopefully will make sense. So the first question is accidental adoption. Matthew and Marilla meet Anne by mistake. How did you discover Anne of Green Gables? So, like I said, Tia and I are doing this Anne Along 2020 read along. We started in January. We currently are reading book 6. And we decided to do this because we both had never read Anne of Green Gables before. We had both mentioned it on our channels that we wanted to. And so I reached out to her and I'm like, hey, let's do an Anne of Green Gables read along. She said yes. And the rest is history. And it's been great. It's been a great motivation to get through the series. I honestly don't think I would have made it past book 1 if it hadn't have been for the read along. So I'm grateful for that, because I have enjoyed the series as a whole. But what originally made me want to pick them up is because so many people on BookTube love this book so much. Specifically, Katie at Life Between Words. She just gushes and gushes and gushes about Anne. And so I definitely wanted to read it because I was having FOMO. I really was. And so now I don't have that anymore because I have experienced it. I don't know it quite as well as some other people do, but I've at least experienced it. So that's question 1. Question 2, puffed sleeves and shabby dresses. What is your favorite Matthew scene and your favorite Marilla scene? So for me, my favorite Matthew scene, hands down, is when he picks her up from the train station and they're coming back and she is just talking his ear off. And he's just listening. He's just quietly sitting and listening and appreciating her, and she's appreciating the fact that he's letting her talk. And he is just falling in love with her, and it's beautiful, and I absolutely love that scene with him. My favorite Marilla scene is probably similar, right at the very beginning when she goes to kind of take Anne back, and the lady, I don't even remember any of these characters' names, but she basically is saying, oh, okay, I have this other person over here who needs somebody to take care of all their kids, and they go to visit her, and you can tell she's not a super nice person. And Marilla is like, well, we don't have to decide right now, so I'll take her home with me. And she totally fends for Anne, and I loved that about her. I loved that even though she really didn't want to keep Anne, Anne wasn't what she was expecting, she still didn't. She cared for Anne, and she cared for Anne. I think my children are moving furniture downstairs. Anyway, but she cared for Anne's best interest, and I love that about Marilla. Even though she tends to be harsh and a little bit more brash, she loves Anne and she cares about her well-being, and you get to see that right away in those first, couple of days with her. So I love that scene with Marilla. All right, number 3 is Red Roads. What is your favorite location in LM Montgomery's glorious PEI setting? I don't really know. I loved getting to hear Anne talk about her view from her bedroom window. She, talks about the cherry trees, and just her description of her surroundings is what I appreciated. I love I don't know remember what it's called. I'm going to mess this up. The White Way of Delight, I think is what she called it, and how she wanted to name each of these locations to make it seem more brilliant than the locals pretty much were like, yep, that's the main road. And she's like, but no, it's this glorious thing. And I love that about Anne. But I love her being in her bedroom and looking out the window and just appreciating the view for what it was, because I do that in my house. I look out my windows and I love the view from my windows, and I think that that's so precious. So I don't think that's really a location, but whatever. I like it. All right, number 4, Kindred Spirits. Which of Anne's kindred spirits do you relate to the most? I think for me, I'm going to say Gilbert. I just could so relate to him. He's trying to be cool. He's trying to be with the boys. Not that I was cooler with the boys, but whatever. And so he's kind of being flirty with Anne, and she is just not having it. And so he continuously is trying. He's smart. He is trying to be competitive with her because he thinks that that's being flirty, and because he's just smart and competitive anyway. And she just keeps putting him down, and he's just like, okay, whatever. But he just kind of brushes her off and keeps being himself. And eventually it comes to a point where she's like, I will never be friends with you. And he's like, fine, see ya. And I think that that's kind of how I am in my life until she finally comes back to him. But that's kind of how I am. I will try to be your friend, and I will try and try and try until you do me wrong. And then I'm like, see ya. Or you make it clear to me that you just have no intention of being my friend. And then I'm like, bye, adios. And if you come back, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? But I'm not going to keep pursuing you if you do not. If you are very blatant with me and you're like, nope, I'm out, then I'm kind of that way too. So I could relate with Gilbert in that regard. All right, the next one. Number 5, Broken Slate. What brought out the strongest emotions in you? This is coming from the parent in me, I think, but I got really, really mad with Marilla when, this is complete spoilers, but when she punishes Anne for lying about stealing the brooch, like, I was so hot and bothered about that, because I'm like, wait, what? You force her to say she's guilty, and then you punish her for saying she's guilty, and then you get mad at her for lying about saying that she was guilty, even though you told her she couldn't leave without saying she was, like, it was a whole thing. So yeah, that. I was real angry about that for a while. I know a lot of people say at the end, and the end was really sad. But for me, like, my strongest emotion, I was so mad at Marilla. I'm like, that was so wrong. Like, how dare you do that to a child, where you basically tell them you're not coming out of your room until you confess. And then she confesses because you told her she had to. And then you find out she was lying about it because she never did it in the first place. And then you get mad at her about that. No, I'm done. Nope, I'm so mad at Marilla for that. All right, number 6. Raspberry Cordial. What surprised you the most? I will say that one of the things that surprised me about the first book is how much Anne badmouths her red hair. And how much she refers to herself as being ugly for having red hair. I have a redheaded child, and it bugged me. I was like, what? Why is she saying these things about her hair? Like, it bothered me to have, like, a redheaded child who might someday pick this up and, like, think that because she had red hair, now all of a sudden she's ugly. That bothered me. And it surprised me because I didn't know that Anne, like, I knew she had red hair. I think the world knows Anne of Green Gables has red hair. I didn't know that she hated it that much. Like, I think it's normal for us all to have things about our physical appearance that we don't love about ourselves, but for her to hate her hair and to be constantly complaining and saying how ugly she is because of the color of her hair, that just broke my heart, and it surprised me. So, all right. The next one is number 7, green hair. What did not turn out the way you wanted it to? I'm going to say, so at the end of this book, this is like I said, complete spoilers. At the end of this book, when Marilla realizes she's going blind and Anne says, no, I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to take care of you. And so many people are like, yes, Anne is like stepping up to the plate. She's treating Marilla like family. I was so mad because I'm like, I'm sorry, you're going to drop your entire future to take care of this farm because you're worried about this house. Like, I get that this is their livelihood. I get that. But I'm like, Marilla can move in with a friend. Like, Marilla has options. You're giving up your entire future. Like, I was so mad about that. I was so, not mad, but I was disappointed. I was like, come on, man. Anne has worked her butt off to get to where she is, and she's just going to give it up? Like, I was so frustrated with that. But then, like, getting into the next book, like, I understood it more and I came to a better understanding of it. But initially, that was really, really disappointing to me that she did not continue her schooling after she had worked so hard to get to where she was at. And I see both sides of it now in hindsight, but at the time, I was upset about it. And I still feel validated in the fact that I don't think it was necessarily the best choice for her to just completely give up everything, but it all worked out for her in the end. It was fine. All right, number 8, Carrots. What is your favorite Anne and Gilbert moment? Hands down, when he saves her from the river, when her Lily Maid boat sinks and she's trapped and he is the only one around to help her. Hands down, that's the best because she has to eat her humble pie and let him help her, even though she hates him. And I just love that so much. Even though she was like, I will never be friends with you. She's so funny. She's so dramatic. But hands down, best part. Obviously, the Slate thing was funny too, but I liked the Lily Maid part better. All right, number 9, Walking the Ridgepole. LM Montgomery balances a lot of different storylines. Which is your favorite? My favorite storyline is actually Anne and Diana. I like that even better than the Anne and Gilbert storyline. Even going into like the later books, I'm in book 6 and I still love the Anne and Diana storyline. I think that it is an amazing testimony to what a lifelong friend can be for someone, especially in that time. I wish that for my kids, that they find friends that will be their lifelong friends. And that their bond that they made when they were so young, that held through their lives. And so I love the Anne and Diana storyline. Hands down, my favorite. All right. Number 10, the Lily Maid. Just as Anne and her friends play characters from a favorite story, who would you want to play in Anne of Green Gables? This is kind of funny. I think I would like to be Marilla because I am a bossy mom. I can be a little harsh sometimes, I will admit, and a little brash, just like Marilla. And that is just kind of my temperament. Not all the time. I can be fun and have fun and, you know, all that too. But when it's time to get to business, it's time to get to business sort of person. And I think that would be the easiest for me to play. But yeah. So anyway, that is the Anne of Green Gables book tag. The last question or prompt is to tag people. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically because I don't really know who has read this. I will tag Katie at Life Between Words. So Katie, you're tagged for sure. And Krista from Books and Jams, you do this one too. But other than that, whoever wants to, I'm trying to remember who Meghan tagged because I think a lot of the people she tagged was who I was thinking of. But yeah, if you've read Anne of Green Gables, I would love for you to do this tag. And yeah, it was fun. So anyway, if you've read this, or if you don't have a channel and you're not going to do the tag, let me know some of your answers to some of the prompts down below. Otherwise, do the tag and let me know that you did it and I will go check it out. And yeah, other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.